Hello and welcome to this video where I'm going to show you how I start painting leaves in a landscape painting. So right now I'm working on this landscape painting here. It is very much in progress painting, so it's not finished yet and it still has a little while to go. But to finish up the painting and to really start to get more the big impression and all the elements in the painting working better together, I need to implement and add on all of these leaves more in the background. So what I am doing is I've just mixed a few different greens. I can show you my palette. It's a bit messy looking right now, but this is my palette. So you can see I have a variety of greens down there that I have that I'm sort of going in between when I'm painting the leaves. Now the brush I'm going to use is just like a completely standard filbert brush. It's not anything special about it. It's synthetic. It's a little bit softer because I want this area to be very soft. I want it to fold back. I don't want it to be very textured. And yeah, it's a size 4. It's a little bit of a larger size 4. And I really love to work with filberts when I'm painting most things, but I find that they're also really good for painting these abstract leaf shapes because you can kind of twist the brush and use it in a lot of different angles to create a lot of different brush marks on your canvas that can be perceived as these very abstract leafy shapes. So what I do is I just sort of push my brush, I just lay it down, so I filled it up with a little bit of darker paint now, and then I just lay it down in different directions to sort of map out the darker areas, so more of the areas that where the leaf or the tree is more in shadow, and that is going to help me map out sort of the brighter areas of the leaves where they are appearing. So I'm just using my brush very loosely and just working with this a little bit back and forth. And then once I've done that a little bit, what I do is actually I just use the same brush, but I just add on a little bit of brighter color. Not the brightest color that I see, but I'm moving up with my values. I'm making the value a little bit brighter. And then again, I just use my brush in different directions, very abstractly, just looking more at the movement of the leaves, not so much the, you know, like the drawing and the shape, but more the direction. I'm looking a little bit of the shape as well. So if the leaf that I'm painting is a little bit thinner, so it's kind of at more at an angle, then I will use the narrow side of my brush and I'll make like a thinner mark. So I'll do that with the slightly brighter value so you can see. So I'll make a slightly thinner mark, and then if the leaf is slightly larger, so it's a little bit more directly towards me, then I'll use the wider side of my brush and I'll make like a wider mark with my brush. And then I just do this. I just go in different directions with the brush, following more or less the movement of the area that I'm painting, of the leaves that I'm seeing. And I'm being very general. So I'm not, you know, I'm not being super scared of getting the drawing just right at this point. I'm just moving the brush in different directions and thinking more about the general feel and the general movement of the leaves. So over here you can see as well, the leaves are going, you know, like the branches, they're kind of leaning more down. So I'm twisting my brush and I'm making the movement to replicate or to make these simplified leaf shapes. I'm adding them on in the direction of the branch or of how the leaves are sort of falling down. Same over here. Some of the leaves, they're, you know, more tilted, like the branch is more tilted down. Some of the leaves, the branch is more tilted up. So just pay attention to that as well when I am adding on the leaves. Then I'm just moving in with a slightly smaller brush, so it's the exact same brush. It's a filbert and it is a synthetic brush, but it's just like slightly smaller. And then I just go in and I just make the shapes of the leaves like a little bit more precise by adjusting the contour line of them with this darker value, just to pull out more the correct drawing and shape. But I'm still being really general, so I'm not, you know, going in and painting like every single little color and value of and detail of the leaf. I'm thinking more of this in a slightly abstract way and just seeing how much I can add on of this leafy texture in this abstract way. And then I might go in at a later point in the painting and just pull out a few of these leaves, not all of them, but just a few of them where I will put more attention and where I will add on more detail. I find that when you paint leafy areas like this in a painting, it can be a little bit also overwhelming and confusing if every single leaf is highly rendered, because then they can compete, especially when they are existing in the background, then they can compete with things more in the foreground. If you think about it, if if you're looking at something in nature, or if you're just like zooming in on one thing, your eye will naturally focus on the area or the element that is kind of in your main focus, and then everything else will become a little bit softer to be able to zoom in on the main element or the main object that you're looking at. So it's important to try and remember this in paintings as well, because if everything has the same hardness or sharpness, then nothing is going to stand out as a vocal area. Nothing is going to seem particularly interesting. Everything is going to get more or less the same attention. Now in the areas where you have a lot of shadow, so in this area right here for example, whenever I'm painting that, I usually go even more abstract and I just paint, I just work with variation in color, temperature and a slight difference in value, just to lay in a few different shapes to make the area a little bit more atmospheric and to get a little bit more air and variation in those areas. So yeah, I'm just going to continue to work with this area in this kind of semi-abstract way, while of course thinking about maintaining that leafy texture and thinking about the direction of the leaves, thinking more about the larger blocks of value that make up these leaves in the background. And yeah, then I might come back to them and just pull out a few leaves and make them pop even more, just to get a little bit of variation in the leafy area. But that is really how I start whenever I'm painting leaves and whenever I'm painting like a leafy texture and a leafy background in a landscape. So I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, then just write me in the comments and I will get back to you. And if you would like to get more oil painting tips and advice, information and inspiration, then I also invite you to subscribe to my channel. I upload videos more or less every week, sometimes even more often. So if you're interested, make sure that you subscribe and also that you push the small bell icon so you always know when I post a new video. Okay, I wish you a wonderful day with lots of inspiration and happy painting. Bye!